G'day everyone and welcome to the preview of Flemington for Saturday the 12th of December. As usual, I'm joined by Sir Topham Hatt himself, Darren Potter. I thought that was a bit harsh what they said about you the other day on the Monday show pods.
Was that the fat controller?
That's very harsh, I found.
I mean, luckily for me, I haven't got kids, so I don't really know who the fat controller is, but I assume it's not flattering. But,
well, the only thing you probably do have in common, Potts, is that you probably own a railway like he does.
Well, I've got a thick skin, Juppy, so I couldn't give a shit really, to be honest. And anyone out there that wants to look like me, all you need to do is about 60 hours form a week and enjoy a bit of a custard tart or something like that, and you'll be all right.
Back to Flemington for the first time since the carnival, Potts. I heard Mick Goody say during the week that they've done a major renovation. They've scarified the track, aerated, dethatched. But he said the 5 weeks probably wasn't quite long enough, and now we've got 2 meetings in 8 days.
Yeah, so it's showing up in the Penno, because the Penno is 4.94 as of this morning, which would be as high as it's been at Flemington all year. Typically it's around the 4.85 mark. If we had a guessing competition of the lowest Penno of the year, I don't think many people would guess May 9, but I think that's it. And if I was having a guess, Juppy, I'd say, because that's, cold and they don't need to irrigate at that time of year.
Yeah.
And ironically, as it turns out, that track on May 9 paid particularly fair. So maybe there's a lesson in that for the track managers, but there's something about the way rain falls as opposed to irrigation that when it's rain, it seems to penetrate and stay where it is.
Yep. And
when it's irrigation, it seems to make its way to the inside. And we've seen it again both Saturday and then Wednesday at Sandown, that the massive amount of irrigation and the rail was off at both meetings.
I think that's the other thing, Potts, to keep these tracks looking attractive for TV. Like 2 inches, which is how much they put on Sandown on Wednesday, that's an awful amount of water to keep a track going. And it shows how, apparently we live in an arid land, but you wouldn't know because they've designed all these tracks to make sure they don't get called off in winter. But when we want to race during the summertime, they're all biased. I mean, they were all good threes during the winter time at Flemington, and they were brilliant tracks, which is all well and good, but don't we want to turn money over here in the summertime as well?
Well, if they keep having tracks where it's, if you draw inside, you're basically cactus.
Yeah.
People will get, I don't know, whatever. It didn't bother me. We sort of, both Sandown meetings, we got something out of them. Like the last Saturday, the early set was a small profit. The changes we made in the Pro Better Live Room got back to a small minus, and then we, depending when you backed the winners yesterday, it was either a chop out or just a small profit. But it was a pretty skinny meeting yesterday. We only bet in 6 races and found 4 winners and were in second in the other 2 races, and only just managed to get our noses in front. But anyway,
and it would have been a huge swing if those other 2 had won, and they weren't far off. So just a little bit of luck would have been nice. But
yes, it was
not to be.
I don't know what Mark Zara was thinking on the Darren Weir horse early in the day. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. One of the other issues that we've got to deal with here for this meeting, Juppy, is that we've got a Friday night meeting at Moonee Valley, and we've got a lot of dual acceptors. So I wished I couldn't care less if we go back to not putting up markets and starting betting on Saturday morning. That'd suit me fine. But if we're going to have betting starting on Wednesday, surely the powers that be can do something about dual acceptors. There's a heap of runners here that are also accepted for Moonee Valley, and I've got no clue where they're going. So a lot of these races are going to look different by the time we get around to Saturday morning.
And maybe that's one thing that all these administrators on their junket to Hong Kong can learn, Potts, that the customer's king, and maybe that's a small change that wouldn't cost them a lot to put in place that would make a hell of a difference to the customer.
Yeah, well, and we've seen recently with a few magnified cases that the deductions can be crippling. If they want people to start betting on Wednesday, you've got to try and get away from horses being scratched. Anyway,
maybe that's something for the Ian Fletcher at the Australian Wagering Council to take up, justify his vast salary. Flemington Race 1 is the first response pharmacy trophy over 1,000 metres. Takado is 9, down the hatch 750. Petite's Reward 13, Shakespearean Lass 8, Bella Capri 850, Miss Gidget 850, Lacroix 480, Turius 360, Conspicuous Maid 18.
1,000 metres down the straight. I should talk about how the track's going to play. Peritus is the favourite here, and it's the first of the dual acceptors, so we don't know whether it's going to be here or at Moonee Valley. I think down the straight the track will be, it's a bit of a guessing game really, but I don't think bias will play a big factor in the straight races. Around the circle I think there's all sorts of possibilities. Remembering we're going back to Rail True for the first time since Derby Day when it was Fence and Fire, so
yep. And
you've got to say that's some chance of happening again, but I would think it's unlikely. There's no wind, so the wind's not going to blow the leaders out of the race. I would think on balance, the most likely thing is stalking the speed off the rails is going to be an advantage, and the mid to wide gates are going to be better than the inside draws. And I don't with the high peno, I think there'll be a fair amount of resistance in the track. It'll be fairly testing.
Yep.
So I don't think leading will be much good around the circle, but not impossible. So back to the mares for the first race. So they've all got a chance. It's probably Stella the Boss and Conspicuous May that are out of it. The rest of them have got a hope. So it's not a race that I'm going to get too excited about betting in. When I did it, so Peritus, she's a 3-year-old, isn't she?
Yep.
3-year-old, only had the one run. She sort of sat outside the lead and showed a good bit of, ran a pretty quick last 600, 33.2 or something it was. I thought, often these 1,000 metre races, they just sort of go along at a fairly even, gentle tempo for the first half of the race, and it really becomes who can run the fastest relative to where they are in the field over the last 500. I thought, that might start well for her, sort of, being the young horse in the race with that freshness, and she might be able to outsprint them late. And I sort of expected to go and find her about $10 in that $9-10 range, and there she was favourite. So she seems like an odd favourite to me, even though I've got her right in the race.
Well, it's from a punting stable now, though. Tots.
Are they punting, are they?
Yeah, he said that in the paper the other day that he hadn't had a bet for a while, but he's finally changed his way now, Peter Moody, obviously because he thinks he might be getting a holiday. So we're a betting stable now.
Oh, that's good.
Welcome aboard, Pete.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good point. It really annoys me when I hear trainers saying that they don't bet and everything else. I mean, the whole game revolves around people betting. So if they don't bet, they should keep it to themselves. And if they do bet, they should say so.
Well, Pete's taken up arms.
Well, good on you, Pete. It's good to have you on board. Let's get everyone betting. The more people betting, the better.
And
I look forward to this show that's coming out on the People's Cup.
Cup tonight, yeah.
Because apparently it's going to bring all these new people into the game. Hope they all take up arms as well, Juppy. So anyway, I thought she was a strange favourite, but she looks like she could get circumstances to suit Peritus. Apart from that, I'm just looking for some value. I think Bella Capri is an interesting runner here. She went on forever last prep, and she was obviously sour, so I think the spell would have done her the world of good. And her better form's probably the strongest form in this race, so she's a bit of value. And down the hatch I think will be suited down the straight. She's a sort of she's done a lot of racing at Moonee Valley and circle tracks where she's missed the kick and got into awkward spots and ran home well late. I think she'll be closer to them down the straight, and that could work out well for her, but not a race I'm excited about at all. In fact, I could easily leave it alone. So if I do bet, they'll be small bets.
Race 2 is the time-honoured Lola and Trish's handicap over 1400. Allergic 21, Ashton 14. A lot of love 310, Not a Happy Camper 9, Abahar 10, Divine Mr. Artie 460, Roxburgh 13 pots.
Yeah, 1400 metres for the 3 and 4 year olds. So we've had the market police in action here again, Juppy. So the tab put up $8, a lot of love, and the sports bet wanted to put up closer to 2 to 1, and they decided that no one else should get on at that price, so they'll just take the whole lot. and they want the market to be around about $320 for a lot of love, which sounds like a ridiculously short price to me for a mare coming off a win where absolutely everything went right. She was the beneficiary of the bias at Ballarat. I mean, it was a nice win, and was it Estaminet or something?
Estaminet, yeah.
Estaminet. She's a handy mare that she beat, and it was a good gap back to Anaphora, who was third, and who ran well last week. But that's just mare's form, and here she is against a handy field of males. So while she's got a good winning chance, there's no way in the world she should be anything shorter than a 7-2 chance here,
yeah.
Which I would think is about the right price. And eventually, Sportsbet won't be able to keep their foot on the price.
No, you'd think once that the boys on course kept going, it'd be bigger than that, than the fair.
Well, they're relying on no one being interested in Divine Mr. I mean, a lot of horses here. There's a lot of other horses with a chance, and people will be interested in them. And there we go. Well, when I did the race, Ballon and Clash was still in it, but he's now out. Anyway, Divine Mr. Artie's a 3-year-old in the field. Good time of year to start looking at 3-year-olds against the older horses.
And the stable's flying.
Stable absolutely flying. Coming off a 2 good runs at Moonee Valley. He's just got a rock solid chance in this race, and I'd imagine him and a lot of love will start close to the same price. Duke of Brunswick's just a really honest horse.
It's out.
Oh, it's out, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that'll affect the prices. So that means that a lot of love and Divine Mr. Artie won't be 7-2. They'll be a bit shorter, but you know what I mean. Other mare I'm giving a chance to is Oberha. She's an interesting mare. She's got some.
Yeah, it's got the DF, hasn't it?
Yeah. She had a really nice run in Queensland. Took her up to Sydney in a awkward race. She got caught in a very awkward spot, but no room at all. She never really got clear. She only got beaten a couple of lengths. And she's double figure odds here, so she goes in. So, is there anyone else there we don't talk about? I mean, there's a lot of fringe chances here, so it's a pity that Duke of Brunswick's out there.
Seems to be somewhat of a trend I'm starting to notice here, Potts, that they're just very sort of even fields there. Well, the first couple have been anyway. Race 3's the Lanark handicap over 1200. Badajoz 420, Andalusian 5, well sided 750, Hazy Spirit 10, Date Night 10, Atuka Zahasho for $9 for Katie Mallion, who's trying out Righto Clay. Downhearted 13, Nikoko 8, and that's about the strength of it, Potts.
Good. This is an interesting race. This it's for the 3-year-olds, and we've got like 6 last start winners, I think.
Yeah.
5 of them off their maiden. So you start with Badajoz. He's sort of got the more exposed form, and he's going to set a level here that they're going to have to beat. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see him be quite easy though, because I think there's going to be a lot of interest in other runners here. So I'll be looking to back him on Saturday at a better price than he currently is, I think.
What about the stablemate then, Potts, Andalusian?
Anna, she's the only filly in the race. So if you're looking at it from a positive point of view, the last run was much better.
Yeah.
It was quite a good run, but it was against the fillies. I'm really sus about that race.
Okay.
Just not sure about that race that we had Indara and Indara.
Yeah.
Irada and Indara. So I'm giving a good chance to 3 of the improvers off their maiden win. So I can't really split them. There's not between them. So let's start with the Japanese horse. Atuka Zasho. Picking out doing Japanese to say that properly. For Kate Mallion. It's Kilmore, wasn't it?
Yep.
Just looked a really good win and ran fast time. Ran faster time than a number of other horses that day at Kilmore that have come to town and won or raced well. So I think Vostok was the same day.
Yeah.
And much faster time than Vostok, but a lot faster. We won at Sandown recently. I can't remember when it was.
And the second horse has come out and won since.
Yeah, there's two winners out of that race, I think.
Okay.
And Karani started favourite in a race off the Kilmore win, and this horse ran faster time than Karani in the that was a high grade race. So he's got a chance. Just sort of there's little tricky things about all three of these horses. I'm just trying to remember where they fit in. Asia Spirit last prep was beaten on the Geelong Synthetic by one of the other resumers here, Downhearted.
Yeah.
I watched the replay of that race, and I don't know if Downhearted's a giant on the other Darley horse that race are really big horses, but they made Asia Spirit look like a pony. Right? So that was however many months ago, quite a while ago. Both Downhearted and Asia Spirit have had a spell since, and Asia Spirit started double figures that day, and so did Downhearted. And Asia Spirit trialled much better this time in, and then was heavily backed first up, started odds on, and just completely bolted in, and looked a much better horse, didn't look like a small horse anymore. So
yeah.
I'm sort of guessing that it's, both races might be a little bit of an optical illusion because of the size of the horses that it was racing against. But he looked like a horse this time, and it was a good-looking win. So it's sort of when you come to town and compete off. And then the other one is Date Night. He made his debut at Echuca. Now, one of the winners we backed yesterday, Siding Spring, was in that field, and he raced behind Siding Spring, just went around him, and when he went around him, just looked like he had him covered, cut him off, and ended up finishing 4 lengths in front of Siding Spring, which was probably flattering because he cut him in half as he went past him. But I think there probably should have been a length between them, is more the fact. But anyway, Siding Spring come off that, had the big win at Pakenham and then the big win in town yesterday. So it's obviously form that's measured up well, and the time was fine again there. So here's another one that's got to be a chance. Really interesting race. I'm not going to bet heavily in this race. I'm going to back those three improvers. They're all around the $10, $11 mark, and I'll be trying to do something with better odds on race day. Happy to let Antelucan go around against me. But I think this will be a really good race to watch, and it could work out to be a form race that we're using for the next couple of months.
We seem to get one of two type of maidens at this time of year, don't we, Potts? I was having a brief chat with a friend of the show, Dan Kelly, the other day. We either get really strong maidens where there's good horses come out of, or they are just absolutely legs.
Garbage, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly it.
Race 4 is the Building Engineering Trophy over 1400. Sign off 26, Red Bomber 7, Star Rolling 31, Gracious Prospect 440, Honourous 7, Burning Front 310, Chili Express 10, Precious Gem 10, and Dan's effort down the bottom 11.
Burning Front 320, Juppy. Is that what you said?
310.
310, wow. Is that about, God knows how many runs he's prep. He's racing very consistently, but Jesus Christ, if that's a real price, that people are really backing because they think it's going to win, or because they think it's value, I'll be surprised. There's a very interesting stablemate in this race, and I was intrigued to see Burning Front to be the first horse back when markets went up. I'll be very interested to see what happens in the betting on Saturday.
Okay.
Because the best horse in this race, the horse with the best performances in this race, without any doubt at all, is the Norris.
Okay.
So, not sign-offs.
He's gone, isn't he?
Well, no, he's a stayer, so I mean, he'll just need the run here, I'd say, but Honorius has got a number of really good first up performances, and he's making the change from David Payne to Darren Weir. So,
anything could happen here.
He's one of the horses, Juppy, that trialled at Colac in those trials that we were talking about off air.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a 1,200 metre trial. He didn't run in particular time, but he looked to me to be in very good order. So Honorius is the most interesting runner of the day for me. He could start anywhere from 2-1 to 25-1 here.
And you will get very strong signals as to what will happen there.
Strangely
from
enough,
the market.
I'd rather back him at 2-1 than 25-1.
Correct. And Burning Front, according to the form best bets here, is 15 runs in, at least 15 runs into this prep.
Sort of wins one every 4 or 5. How many is it? 1, 3?
1, 2, 3, 4. It's won 5 out of the last 15 and only finished out of the top 3 once.
And how many consecutive wins out of those 5?
There were 2 going back before the win at Moonee Valley. So the only time he finished out of the place was the Seymour Cup, which was of course won by Turn Me Loose.
Yeah, no, his form's solid.
But it is short though.
It's too. I mean, it's just a weird price and very intriguing. So I don't really know what to say about this race other than Honorius could win this race comfortably, but I got no clue. Gracious Prospects. If you remove Honorius, Gracious Prospects top pick should be priced in the market ahead of Burning Front, I think. He's a Flemington 1,400 metre. That's his go in life, and he'll get a good run here. And as long as he doesn't get sort of snookered in the box seat, everything's right for him. Red Bomber's a really honest horse. I just wouldn't be paying any attention to the Ballarat run. We're sort of in the wrong spot and probably needed the run there. Yeah, that's about it. So I think they're the 4 main chances in the race, really. I think. While you're doing that, Juppy, I'll just
a bit of fit of plug in too.
Yeah, for those that joined us last week in the Pro Better Live chat room, the set that John Walter produced in the chat room was really good last week. It was there were 3 good price winners that weren't on his early morning stuff. So I'd sort of suggest with John's stuff that if you want to get the full set, you've probably got to be paying attention to the Pro Better Live chat room as well, because there were some races that he hadn't put together a betting plan yet, and it only come out late. So Medcourt, Fatu and Backman were all found in the set that was published in the chat room.
I was a victim of that, Potts. Being out there in the members' car park at Balnarring, I didn't get a chance to hear any of that and didn't get a chance to look at the chat room, so it just shows that you sort of do have to pay a bit of attention. I think if you blend it, it'll probably work really well. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, John's got a slightly different approach. Like he's got a different approach to me. So my early, I only make minor changes from my early set based on subtle things that happen during the day, whereas John's early set is really about the horses he thinks are significant overs early, and then he's looking at what happens during the day, the mounting yard, and putting it all together and giving his final thoughts in the chat room. So they're sort of almost 2 separate entities. So
Honorius is actually a really good example of that, isn't it, Potts? Because as you say, you'd rather take 2-1 than 25-1 because the market signals are going to tell you whether this horse is here or not, and how much it has improved. So sometimes you have to wait for that before you can do it, and that's sort of the way you sort of play. But yeah, it was John's sets were very different last week.
Definitely. It's a really good point you raised, Joe, because it's a sort of horse that can be handled so many different ways. So, like, in my view, you could have half your stake on at the morning price and take the risk, knowing that if it blows, you've got to just either pay the fine and try and trade out of it at a loss, or just cop it sweet and let that bet run around for you, knowing that you've taken unders. or you can wait until you see what happens in betting and potentially take a shorter price.
Yeah.
Or you might want to take the longer price even if it drifts. So, but you're not really going to be furnished with the full set of information until the final 2 minutes of betting. There's the reality of it.
There's no right or wrong answer with that either, is there? The only right or wrong answer you find out, sadly, is after the race, once you have the result. But other than that, you've just got to do your best. The other thing is, it's a big weekend all around the country, so we've got a very good card here at Flemington. It's Villiers Day in Sydney, so the $99 to come into the chat room and get both sets is always a good start. And also, it's Callaway Gull Stakes Day at Doomben. There's a big 9-race card up there, and Hong Kong International Day is on Sunday. So the Punter Show special this week is if you buy Hong Kong, you get Johnny McLeod's set as a bonus. So there's 4 meetings that have very, very good in-depth coverage that'll be well worth having a bet on. There'll be huge pools there on the Hong Kong pools are traditionally a little bit smaller on the international meeting, but there's plenty of good Australian horses over there, Criterion and Preferment and Lucia Valentina and those sort of horses over there, so that'll be a great way to spend Sunday.
Yeah. And I'll just give a plug to my man Mark Lambourne. I've used Mark's set for years, and yesterday's a good example. I got to the lead yesterday after Warrior King run, so I was having a small winning day, and in the last race yesterday at Warwick Farm, there was a Jim and Greg Lee runner that was 1 win from 28 starts. And I think it was like in the order of $15 to $21 in that range on yesterday morning. And Mark marked at $4. And when Mark does strange things like that and finds horses that are marginally out of the market, he finds them really hard. They invariably run well. So I backed the horse, ended up paying $8 on the tote. Yeah. And it won. I didn't bolt in or anything, but it won. Mark, if those that do subscribe to Mark's set would have had 17 units on it, so that would have been. I think you outlaid probably about 50 units on the day, and you had $17 units on an $8 winner in the last. If you didn't take the morning price, you could have taken $15 plus in the morning, and there were a couple of other winners he found yesterday as well. So I've found Mark's set and his prices incredibly helpful over the years.
Yeah, he's been at it for a long while, and he's very, very good at it. And the other thing is, Potts, like the rest of the world, found Warrior King yesterday, but Potts found it. I took $4, and even after the deductions, it was still above $3. So there was plenty of people that were happy to take $2.40 and $2.30 and $2.20 at the death. So if you can still get on in those avenues with the corporates at the early prices, there's plenty of value to be had with most of the sets.
Yeah, was it the last race today was the race I was most confident about, and the only 2 bets we had were in first and second with a good gap back to third. So hopefully a few of the subscribers found the Quinellen. So
there was another earlier race where I think you found the trifecta in the 3 bets that you had there, Pot. So if you are mucking around with multis, there was a few on Saturday as well. I noticed there might be a little angle there. Anyway, on to race 5, which is the Western Health Adamo Cafe Cup over 2,000. Our Voodoo Prince 420, good value 7. Blackjack 480, longer on 420. Second bullet 360. And big price is the rest spots.
Not a lot to work with here. Look, I'll just let's make this really quick.
Bit of the usual suspects
the
here.
Usual, the old butlers here. I think Craig Newett's an interesting booking for a couple of Waller runners here on Saturday. I don't really remember him riding a heap of Waller runners in the past. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're after the...
I think when he first came down, he did a little bit for him, I think, Potts.
I think so.
But it hasn't been for a while.
He's on this one and he's on Yellen in the last. Black Jag's on the back up, and he's done that a few times in the past and to good effect. So he's backable to me at $5. He's a bit of an old bludger, but
Froggy with the Spurs might help.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs. So. The whip rules are a problem, so the Spurs need to do the Shudo whip. I don't know what excuses to make for longer on at Traralgon. I think it was Traralgon. It's pretty ordinary.
Yep, Traralgon.
But he backs up here on a 6-day backup. and has got plenty of runs that are good enough to win this race. Second Bullet's best form's at Caulfield, but you know he's got a good chance in the race. Out of Video Prince has a chance in the race, so it's just one of those races. Back whichever old bloody you like best.
Race 6 is the plenary group handicap over 2,000. This is the half prize money race for the day, of course, so it has to be first leg of the quaddie. Bajor 850, Trendsetter 11, Crimson Cape 6, Tucano 650, Warpoint $12, Chasing Glory 11, I'm the Tiger 11, Hipster Girl 8, and Flying Light 550.
A lot of these half prize money races, you just had fields full of provincial horses, and they've been really marginal races, you know. But this one here, we've got at least one proper city horse, so it's actually got me quite excited, this race. What price did you read out Flying Light, Juppy?
550 down the bottom there.
Well, I would think that's the best value of the day. He will not start that price unless he's getting fairly deep into his prep. But it's the David Hayes stable, and they're that's part of their program is keeping those horses going with their farm. So unless if this horse is in good order, which I can't see any reason why it won't be, it's got to start 5-2 in this race. So the 550 is a gift.
Well, it's got all the Mahuda form and Kraken, and he's one of the jockeys that I'm giving a tick to at the moment. Damien Frosty Lane, he knows number one Katie Mallion's coming back to the stable down there in Flemington, so he really is riding well at the moment.
Yes, he's been a bit of an overseas trip, come back, and he seems to be riding well. But he's the only 3-year-old in this race, so it's a little bit of a trick, you know, lining up the 3-year-old form with these older horses. But this race has got a long tail. As you said, Juppy, he's a 3-year-old coming through the Sandown Guineas, and then the 3-year-old race at Moonee Valley when Dwayne Dunn.
Well, there's a jockey who
didn't ride him very well.
There's a jockey who I don't particularly want to be backing in the minute, as opposed to with D Lane. Like, I'd rather back the other D Dunn. I'd rather back Dylan Dunn at the minute than I would Dwayne.
Well, you wonder which one's the apprentice. I mean, honestly, Dwayne Dunn.
He got handled last Saturday.
He should come out. He rode 8 horses that were hard in the market last Saturday, and he didn't participate on any of them. I mean, he should be writing a written apology to punters and explaining what was going on with him, because there was something not right with Dwayne Dunn last week. It was incompetence. It was just terrible. And then he comes out on Wednesday and rides one out of the market and knock us off his first ride on Wednesday. Yeah. It's just bloody annoying. You know, they go from one thing to another, and there's never any explanation in the media. It's not all the media want to do is interview winning jockeys. They don't want to talk to the ones. Like what he was doing on All I Survey in the last race at Sandown on Saturday is just, honestly, how questions aren't asked is beyond me.
And like,
it was disgraceful.
I'm a rap for Dean Lester, but someone rang up posing the same question on Punters Post-Mortem on Monday on Sky, and like Dean literally made an excuse for about 6 or 7 of them. He shouldn't have to make 6 or 7 excuses for he's right up there in the Jockeys Premiership at the minute, but like he had the barbecue fired up on Saturday because he barbecued a few of them.
Anyway,
race.
I agree with you, Juppy. I agree with this. Anyway, so I've already talked about Flying Light. It looks a really good bet. Tucano is a horse that interests me here. I could definitely have something on him. And Warpoint's got the form. He sort of has one good run, one bad run. I think reading the tea leaves here, I think he's got feet issues, this horse, because he's got the off pads going on.
And trained down at the beach.
Trained down at the beach, all that. Yeah. So if he's here in his best form, he's a winning chance, and he's out of the market, so I could have a little something on him. And
the renovated track's probably a little bit of a tick for him too, because it might have the jar out of it, which might help him.
Yeah.
Race 7's the Victoria Trophy over a mile. Tashby 280, Orion 12, Turn It Around 15, King's Dance 10, The New Boy 10, Ballorem 480, and Clemo 5.
Talking about D. Dunn Jr., here he is on Tashby. If you want to see a good ride from an inside draw, go and watch his ride on Golden Main at Moonee Valley 2 weeks ago. That was an absolute gem, that was. So he's got an inside-ish draw here on Tashbury. Hopefully he rides it similar. Just lets something, pushes off the fence, lets something get up inside him, and he'll sit in the middle of the field, and he'd be pretty much too good for these. I mean, he come off the Malaguera race that everything's won out of, and he went to Sandown, and Michael Walker gave up a spot that he probably should have held, and in the end it probably made the difference. He couldn't quite run Charmed Harmony down, but Charmed Harmony's a hard horse to get past, so it was a good solid run. If Tashby turns up in that form, he's clearly the horse to beat here, and I think his price is fine. He's certainly, and there's no fat in the price, but it's backable. The danger looks to be Clemo. Clemo's can be a bit hard to catch, but this looks like a good race for him, and his career best performance is at this track and distance, so he's a danger. Long way back to the rest. I think Orion's probably the next pick, but that's about it.
So a bit of a thin race there, Pods.
Yep.
Race 8's the Western Health Foundation handicap over 1200. Churchill Dancer 6. Sistine Demon 550. Nicosine 12. Durandal 420. Sarajevo 650. Nordic Empire 13.
Yeah, back down the straight here, so what's happening on the day will have an impact, because we don't know whether they'll be inside, outside, or split, down the middle, anyone's guess really. On face value, I think there's two horses that stand out here, so let's start with Durandal. The trainer's adamant that 1200's his best distance, and he's coming off a really good 1400 metre win. So he ran a good race when he wasn't fit enough for a race that brutal behind Malaguera.
Yeah.
Went to Ballarat, just did everything right, won really well. Comes back to his home track. Stables, they're the stable of the week.
Yep, they're going well. D Lane,
all good. Prices acceptable. Bingo. So we're back Durandal, drawing a nice middle gate. Sistine Demon's the other one that really interests me. It's drawn gate 1, so we'll have to watch and see there. Could be good, could be not good. But I really liked his jump out, and he ran really well first up. Another one of Dwayne Dunn's forgetful rides there. Didn't really participate, wasn't beaten far. I think they are the two horses here that are really ready to peak. So then the next beyond them is, obviously Churchill Dance is an obvious chance in this race, but he's been up for a long time and he seems well enough found to me, even though he's got that's about his right price and he's got a decent winning chance. The only other horse in the race I could back, and this is the last chance for this horse, I'm sick of making excuses for him, but second start as a gelding, I think Dale Smith's probably the right jockey for him, because he seems to do better in trials and his work, because he started short a lot, and maybe Dale Smith's always riding him in that stuff, so
yeah.
Hopefully he's got the key. And so I'm talking about Nordic Empire. At least he's out of the market this time, and we're going to get a big price. So.
He's a funny horse, because he took a long while to win his maiden, didn't he? Because he got rolled a couple of times at really short odds, so I think he might just be really quirky, and he might just need a Dale Smith to stand over him. And
yeah.
On to the last, which is the Metricon Trophy over 1700.
So I'll give the other plug over here. From everything that I've been told, the $25,000 Saturday tournaments are flying. So if you've got the opportunity to get involved, they're such a great idea, and I think it's only going to just grow and grow and grow, and there's good money to be made there, and you've got to applaud Top Better for introducing something new to racing that's going to give racing a chance to attract a younger audience. Like all those kids playing poker. If they slowly find out about this, they'll find this is, it's got to be more fun than playing poker.
Well,
You would think.
and there's also the big American sports tournament that they've got coming up over the weekend too. So, like, or if you want to play your way into the 25k tournament, there's a decent meeting at Moonee Valley on Friday night.
Yep.
You jump in the Friday night mixed tournament and have a muck around there, and you're a chance to win your way in. Like it can, it's not just for the people that just want to pony up 100. Like you can get in there very, very cheaply.
Absolutely.
So it's a great concept, and it is a lot of fun. And you can also wind up the Glenster in the sledge box as well. So, yeah, it really is a good way to spend your Saturday. So, definitely hop into that. The last race 9, the Metricon Trophy over over 1700. Marley Magic 11, Eisenhower 13, Rindabell 8, Winter Chiller 10, Yellens 270, Felician 480, Sea Spray 9, and Millions to the bottom.
Well, Yellen's drawn the outside gate, which I think is great because that'll probably encourage bookmakers to want to layer and enough layers. So we're going to get on at a decent price here because she just looks like a good thing to me. Like a bunch of stale old mares.
Has Samantha Heights run since that?
Yeah, she ran okay.
Yeah.
Samantha Heights. There was Samantha Heights and there was one of Darley's and Belial, I think, all come through that race and all ran okay at Sandown.
Okay.
So the form behind it was fine there. I think they'll just, you're going to have Marley Magic and Mademoiselle going forward. Most of the rest of these are back markers. There'll be plenty of room for her just to slide across and slide in behind the pace, and she's got to do a lot wrong to not win. Just looks. I mean, I couldn't mark her any longer than 6 to 4. So bang, there you go. She'll. If she's solid in the betting, she'll be winning, I think.
She's got the new catch term, hasn't she? But she's got winning culture.
Winning culture, yeah. Well, she's a mare in form. That's more my thing, you know what I mean? Like, these mares always have a purple patch. Most of the others have had theirs, and here she is, right in it. Sea Spray's got the ability, but gee, she's a miserable thing. So I suppose she's second pick, and Felicine's just a moderate mare that's sort of in a bit of form, so I'm not knocking her, but no, I just hang my hat on Yellen, really. It's if everything's in order here, she looks a good bet to me.
Beautiful. Well, should be a good day out there at Flemington. Hopefully the weather stays like this where it's nice and mild. I think could be a little bit of weather coming, couldn't there, Potts? Maybe a shower. I know there was a cool change, but I don't think there'll be a terrible amount in it. Hopefully there's enough in it to make sure that it doesn't have to irrigate, which would be really nice.
That'd be lovely.
So make sure you grab the sets and hop into the chat room. It's always good banter in there, and it's always an entertaining day. And it also helps because 90% of the time nearly everyone's on the same thing. So if you just don't want to have the emotion just to yourself, at least you can share it with 20 other people that are either winning or losing like you are. So it's a great way to go, and there's the tournaments as well. But I'm sure it'll be another winning set from you, Potts, and we'll be back this time next week to do it all again and preview Flemington again. So
it's a pretty good card. It's a bit slow early, so I'm going to be a bit cautious in the first half of the card, but I think there's some good bets there in the second half of the card for sure, Juppy.
And also we'll be able to see what the track looks like by that stage too, so we'll have a good grasp on it. All right, everyone, we'll be back this time next week to have a look at Flemington. Good luck. See you, Potts.